As I was reading an online article, I came across the statement, mass media is a significant force in modern culture. Media reflects and creates the culture. I found the statement to be very interesting because it is the most truthful thing I have ever read. In society, we are bombarded with millions of billboards, online ads, catchy commercials, dramatic television shows, juicy radio broadcasts, eye-catching magazine and newspaper articles, and not to mention all the vastly evolving social media platforms. Mass media is all around us, and it has a major influence on the way we think, act, and communicate with each other. It is so powerful in which it brings us all together. However, it is the main force that tends to also drive us apart. So much so that it has been the catalyst in the development of our perceptions. However, what is perceived is not always reality.
What is mass media and where did it begin? Mass media is a means of communication intended to reach a large audience through several different mediums. This could be radio, television, telephone, newspaper, book, or the internet. But before it was considered mass media, it was simply just known as media. Media all began with the invention of the printing press, created by Johannes Gutenberg in the early 1400s. The success of this invention quickly spread because it cut down on the time for manual printing labor and allowed multiple pages to be printed at once. The printing press paved the way for the rise of the newspaper later during the 19th century. The first newspaper, called The Relation, was produced by Johann Carolus, a German publisher. Several other newspapers soon followed, thus making the newspaper the main source of information. As the years progressed, print media not only included books, but pamphlets, newspapers, and magazines as well. In 1876, the level of communication increased due to the invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell. This new invention gave people access to communicate with each other globally. In 1894, more so towards the end of the 19th century, the prominent source of communication shifted from the newspaper to the radio, in which some say has two inventors, Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian physicist, and Nikola Tesla, a Serbian scientist. The invention of the radio was significant because it introduced the world to electronics and wireless communication. In late 19th, early 20th century, an invention came along and took mass communication and entertainment world to a whole new level, the television. Invented by Philo Farnsworth in 1927, the television provided people the opportunity to visually see the information they were used to reading or hearing about from newspapers and radio broadcasts. Such historic moments were captured, such as Disney's first color film called Flowers and Trees in 1932 and Neil Armstrong's Walk on the Moon in 1969. It was at this moment that the level of communication became technologically advanced and was able to reach a massive amount of people at one time. As the 20th century progressed and technology continued to grow, another invention came to pass and took the world by storm. WWW, or the World Wide Web, or simply put, the Internet. The Internet was significant because it brought and connected everyone together, no matter their race, social status, ethnicity, gender, or religion. The Internet provided endless opportunities and endless access to information. It was developed in 1990 by Tim Berners-Lee, a computer scientist. Soon after, the smartphone followed in 1992 by Frank J. Canova, who was an electronics designer for IBM. The invention of the smartphone took mass media and communication to a whole new level and is continuing to expand as we speak. Mass media is all around us. It consumes our daily lives. We cannot escape it. It influences every aspect of our lives without us even realizing it,
As a result of this, it is often said that while mass media is beneficial in connecting people together, it is also detrimental because it does not always provide accurate, unbiased information. But exactly how can mass media be detrimental, you ask? Well, let's find out. According to an article from Business Insider, the media is controlled by powerful corporations known as the Big Six, who control 90% of media in the U.S. These corporations give the okay for biased and inaccurate information to be displayed through mass media simply for ratings. More ratings mean more money, and more money means more power, which means these corporations are constantly winning, however, at our expense. As humans, it is in our nature to gravitate to things that stimulate and align with our basic needs, such as food, shelter, mating, and the desire to fit in. Media programmers are aware of these human needs and will often exploit us by displaying information that evokes our internal arousal centered around these needs. Thus, when we watch these TV shows or listen to certain songs or read certain articles, we never stop to question if what we are seeing is true because we are merely watching things that entertain and feed or stimulate our needs. And because this feeds our needs, we constantly get sucked in over and over and over again, consuming our daily thoughts and influencing the way we think, act, behave, so much to the point where we start to believe what we see is true. It becomes our perceived reality.
Specifically as a young black woman, I think about like your complexion and then like your self-worth growing up and like having self-esteem based on the way that you look, your hair and your body, right? Like your skin tone, your hair, your body. So it took a long time for me specifically to kind of move myself out of that mode of like thinking that like white is right, and I never really felt that way, but it's something that's always like ingrained in the back of your mind because it's everywhere.
It is often said that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But what if the beholder's perception of beauty was influenced not by the true reality of beauty itself, but by a biased and altered perception of what beauty really is? Within the realm of mass media, one area that is very controversial is the perception of beauty. Mass media tells us that we must look a certain way in order to be accepted and to be considered beautiful. Anything that does not meet media's standard of beauty is shunned upon and deemed as being ugly. As a result, many people develop eating disorders or either fall into a state of depression because they cannot meet this unrealistic standard of beauty. At an early age, we were introduced to media's standard of beauty through the cartoons we watched. Women were and still are the most affected by this, having to deal with the pressure of trying to reach an unobtainable goal in order to be considered desirable. Cartoons often portrayed women as having hourglass figures with a big bust and behind, long skinny legs with a thigh gap, the perfect texture of hair, a flat stomach or even abs, flawless skin, and perfect facial features. Celebrities are often praised or dubbed as being the most beautiful person in the world because of their appearance. Magazine covers and billboards Photoshop images hiding flaws. Every other commercial on TV or ads on the internet is either for a subscription to a gym membership or some sort of trendy new diet.
Experience with a police officer, and I was telling him about where I'm from, Ghana, and his mindset was all set on, oh, Africa is all about war, fights, and all that. People tend not to see the beautiful part because of what media portrays Africa to be.
Earlier this year, the world was left in amazement with the premiere of the Black Panther movie. Having grossed over $100 million, Black Panther has been dubbed the second best Marvel movie to date. Many people question why this movie reached such levels of success. Was it the captivating storyline, or was it the fact that it was a movie that broke stereotypes that have been spread through mass media about a particular culture or race? Our daily consumption of information fed to us by the media has altered our thinking and perception of different cultures, ethnic groups, genders, and social classes. The constant satirical portrayal of a group of people shown through mass media causes us to develop altered perspectives of others, thus leading to the development of stereotypes. Stereotyping is very detrimental because it can lead to the unnecessary hatred and mistreatment of a culture or race. As technology continues to advance, mass media will continue to grow into something even more powerful than it has ever been before. With that being said, one can only hope that mass media will serve as a catalyst to bring cultures and countries together even more rather than causing a social divide. It is up to us as consumers to become aware of these perceptions we form from the influence of mass media, to also learn to differentiate them from reality itself, and to also hold these corporations, such as the Big Six, accountable for the biased, inaccurate, unethical information they are giving us.